Ja, herzlich willkommen zur neuen Ausgabe SI Talk. Ich bin wieder bei TerraX. Stuart Rogers ist bei mir Präsident der Company und das ist einer, ja, sage ich mal, der Companies, die, ja, egal wie der Goldpreis steht, eigentlich ihren Weg gehen werden, denn die sind in einem alten Minencamp, Sie schauen sich die alten Interviews an, die haben hochgradigste Ergebnisse, große Tonnagen, also da kann fast nichts schief gehen. Das ist einer der Projekte, wo ich sage, das ist eine Mine in ein paar Jahren. So, thank you to have time again. And I said this in my introduction that you're one of the companies that I really say it's a no-brainer. It's for me more execution story and not a exploration story. Yep. You're sure in the exploration phase, yeah, sure, you drill out with, but along with the grades, with the history, with the numbers, what you're coming up with, all the structures looks like, that's it for me a no-brainer. That's
you're right. It's execution. It's just a matter, I guess, over the last 4 years we've had this project. It was difficult at first because we really didn't have the money to really go out and execute and to accomplish everything we wanted to do. But over the last couple of years, last year in particular, we raised $10.5 million. We still have $8.5 million left. We're going to be drilling starting the end of January on the North Belt, the existing project, the South Belt. We now have funds to really do a proper job of getting out, doing the work, building up the resource. Because building a resource is just a function of drilling holes, and that's a function of money.
Yeah,
so we now have that, so there's nothing holding us back. And we can capitalize. We can follow up on the success we've had on some of the existing structures, but we're also going to go with a strategy of 40% of our drilling for new discoveries.
Okay.
And that's that's exciting. Discoveries are exciting. Mm-hmm. We had Miss Pickle last year, which is a new discovery. Fantastic grades at surface that really got some attention. We have other areas we've worked up. Town Site is an area we did work on, surface work, geophysical work, just getting prepared for drilling on that. That's a geologic formation that on the giant property adjacent to us hosted their highest grade deposit, the supercrust. And the extension of that geology is called Town Site, and on our property. Mm-hmm. So we're going to be drilling that this winter.
Can you say, I think our last interview was 4 months ago.
I think it was summer then.
Oh, summer, yeah, the time is running.
Yes.
So what was the highlights in the last period from drill results and so on? What was?
Well, the highlights from Miss Pickle, we've taken that discovery, which we announced early, in February of last year. So the first drilling we did in our winter program, we expanded that. We extended the zone deeper to about 250 mm-hmm. meters. We've extended it along strike. So it's still open, to the north, to the south, and then, at depth. We've got Sam Otto, which is another lower grade deposit, but looks like a very robust, large system that we've drilled off.
What's mean lower for you?
Well, low grade, in our case, is a gram a ton. That's what we're looking at as low grade, which is, there's lots of large mines in the world, which this looks like has the potential to be a large bulk tonnage open pit project. Where in other areas of the world and mines, very successful mines like Malartic, their average grade is 0.6 of a gram. Mm-hmm. So for us, we're known for the high grade. We're known for the 30 grams a ton, the 60 grams a ton. When you actually build up a resource, you're looking at, multi ounces. I guess I've got to be careful not to sort of come up with sort of a number that I can't.
Yeah, but you see it in the past. Your past really didn't show this numbers. So
well, exactly. It's going to come down to sort of the average grade. You're going to have those high grade. You're going to have lower grades, but we're going to end up with numbers, very significant numbers. Our resource estimate is we're looking to build a high grade resource estimate. What we do see with this low grade pit, it's right in the middle of the area where we're looking to, conceptually think about where we'd end up sort of focusing on for initial mine development. It's quality ounces that are lower mm-hmm. grade, but as part of a mine plan, you would produce this. You're not going to start your first mine rate on mm-hmm. this, but as part of a whole mine complex, this is good. Much like Melodine, which Joe discovered and developed in Nunavut, they have pits and they have high grade underground. So it's mineable ounces.
Yeah. From my better understanding, a question coming to my mind now. When you have high grades, is there a rule in 43-101 that when you have these high grades veins or intercepts, you must drill more, so closer to them, that you confirm this, so that you can put it?
Exactly, because you can't, like when you have a large bulk tonic project and it looks like the grade's consistent over large areas, you can make the assumption that your grades will continue over those large areas, so you can be wider space drilling. When you are load gold, like the high grade is, they pinch and swell, you've got to do it tighter drilling.
Okay, no, it's what was only for better understanding of it.
But it's really matters like the resource estimate, what the individual does putting it together. But the bottom line, whoever does the resource estimate, they want to produce a resource estimate that then they can hand to a mining company, that they could then go and build a mine on. So they got to know what they're doing. Because you don't want to be building a mine based upon ounces that aren't there when you actually get down to producing.
Yeah, I understand. You say you also plan 40% of your drilling in new areas, maybe new discoveries. Can you say something about this?
Well, the town site I just mentioned, that's one we were working up last summer. We're excited about the exploration results from there. We're putting a plan together. People will hear more about it when we start to drill, some of the results we got and why we like it and why we think we have a chance of having another discovery there. Based on the past geology, that's the best place to start, because it was one of the, that formation was the highest grade deposit at the giant mine was in the town site formation. The other thing that's exciting, and we just announced the other day, is we got our drill permit for the South Belt property. The South Belt is south of the Con mine. The North Belt was north of the giant, and those two mines, they're basically between our two properties, with the city in the middle of that. The South Belt, we did surface work this summer. We got high grades at surface, 95 grams, 50 grams, 30 grams. We've identified structures that are on the Con mine, that property that's right adjacent to us, that go onto this property. The reason the Con mine staked this property years ago when they were operating is because they knew that the structures they were mining, such as the namesake Con Shear, goes onto our property, the properties we now own. And it goes for 5 kilometers on our property. There's other structures that they mined at Con that we've sampled them at surface, and we have information from data in the archives that those structures are on our property. So with all the information that we got very excited about South Belt. Our permit's approved. We're going to be in there drilling in February. We'll have 2 drills going at South Belt, 2 drills at North Belt. With South Belt, we're going to do a small program, but once we assembled all this data and did all this work, we're excited. So we're going to put 10,000 meters of drilling into South Belt, because we think we have the opportunity there to make discoveries based upon the information that we're seeing now. So those are 2 areas, I think, and there's other ones that'll, not to throw too many things at people, we've got some immediate targets in front of us, and we're developing targets all the time on the property.
And we have also the chance that we talk really often, so that we can do an update on the interview side. Last question: how many meters you plan this year to drill?
Well, this year, right now our plan was to do another 17,000 meters. We had planned a 27,000 meter program, and when I mean plan, targets identified, drill holes, the whole thing. So like serious planning. We completed 10,000 meters of that before freeze up, and now we got 17,000 left. So we're going to still work on that plan moving forward. But then we're going to develop another plan. So 17,000, I think, is the immediate plan through the winter program. Hopefully we'll get done. But I think you're going to see a lot more drilling than that happen, because we're still well funded. We've got $8.5 million. We're fully funded through the 17,000 meters, and with success, you're going to see a lot more drilling. So on those plans, we just have to, we'll announce them when we put them together. But
perfect. Then good luck. Thank you
Joe.
for the update. And next time we can talk a little bit more about the results from this drill program.
We're looking forward to good results, and hopefully we'll have some before PDAC.
Yeah, hopefully.
We're working on it. So we were able to do it last year. We'll hope we can do it this year.
Perfect.
A good way to start the year. Thanks so much, Joe. Always a pleasure seeing you.
Thank you. Ja, das war jetzt ein Update von TerraX. Für mich ist das Projekt eigentlich, wie ich schon im Intro gesagt habe, ein Home Run. Das ist relativ einfach, Sie müssen es nur mal jetzt exekutieren. Man weiß, die Strukturen sind dort sind alte Minen gewesen, hochgradigste Vererzung, auch im Süden des Bereiches, wie wir jetzt gesagt haben, wo Sie heuer auch ein kleines Programm nur machen wollen, kleines Programm unter Anführungszeichen, zeigt eindeutig wieder ganz hochgradige Ergebnisse, und hoffentlich wieder noch vor der PDAC die ersten Bohrergebnisse veröffentlichen können von diesem neuen Winterprogramm, was sie jetzt haben. 17.000 Meter werden sie jetzt noch bohren, und für mich ist die Aktie eigentlich, ja, wenn die Aktie zurückkommt und Tiefs hat, muss man sie eigentlich von einsammeln, weil die Zeiten, wo man tiefe Kurse sehen wird, ist überhaupt bei einem steigenden Goldpreis, wird man nicht mehr zukünftig oft haben. Also die Aktie unbedingt auf die Watchlist setzen, schauen Sie, dass Sie ein Gefühl kriegen für die Aktie, und sobald die Tiefs macht, wo Sie sagen, hey, das ist eigentlich jetzt eine abnormale oder unnormale Reaktion gewesen, dann muss man die Aktie einsammeln. Das war's von TerraX, Stuart Rogers, Jänner 2017, Vancouver. Tschüss und Baba. Thank you.
Thanks, bud.